NLP is one of the easiest, fastest ways to change your brain waves. And some of you are going to take notes. Just so you know, this is an experiential seminar. So, Darren, I'd like you to forget the number 528. Have you forgot it?
Yeah.
You forgot it. You're smiling. What was the number I said?
528.
Well, if you can't forget 528, how are you going to forget a whole seminar?
All right.
Good question, right?
Yeah.
Now, I am partially psychic, and I have an intuition that perhaps you need help with memory?
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Susan?
I'm always going to take notes, Christy.
Always going to take notes. Well, you're going to take notes, and in fact, you're going to remember every single thing that you write down. Because you're going to auditorily record it, and you're also going to have your notes, which is just going to trigger everything that I'm saying. So for you to work perfectly, for you, Darren, I don't know, my friend. May not work out so well. However, if you pay attention and perhaps come up for a demonstration when we're doing it, we will be able to see that we can use neurolinguistic programming to be able to do some really powerful things, to be able to change beliefs, be able to change habits, to build new motivation processes, to get rid of phobias. A lot of people say cure, but you're not really curing, you're just changing how they're thinking and therefore changing what their brain is doing, so therefore they're able to behave in a new way. Now the cool thing is I actually do QEEGs and brain maps and did fMRIs at university, so I was able to see a lot on how these different techniques and processes affect the brain. So I was able to measure someone when their brain is just totally going wacko when they have anxiety, just at the very thought, like, who in here has a phobia? Oh, no one wants to raise their hand. You know, I'm scared, I don't know what he's gonna do. I want to keep my phobia of snakes, though. I want to be scared of them. Forever. Nothing. Even a little domesticated snake. I don't care if I look totally embarrassed and my, grandkids make fun of me. Once you get one done and out of the way, then it's like, hey, I can conquer something I didn't think I can do, which is really a powerful thing when you think about it. Now, when it comes to our brain, and NLP is very much, we have, like, for instance, we have our car, right? And we have the gas and stuff we put in our car. We have the mechanics that fix the engine. NLP boils down to how the heck do we actually drive a car? When it comes to the general population, it's even more significant the number of people who need instructions on how to operate and utilize and drive their brain more effectively. So a big problem is no one teaches us how to do these things. Now another thing is we talk about things like consciousness. It's very much, people talk about consciousness this, consciousness this. People go consciousness high, consciousness low. I look at some people, I go consciousness no. Non-existent, Don't see any consciousness here, Going to some places, don't see any form of human life, at all. And people go, do you believe in aliens? I must, because, I don't know what this race, which I'm amongst, is. Maybe I'm the alien, who knows? So NLP, what it does is it allows us to do some really, really cool things. And it saves you a lot of stress. I mean, I have parents and I have relatives, and boy, aren't they a lot of fun. And I'm sure all you have spouses, right? Who here has a spouse? Right. Now, you either train them, otherwise you get to suffer a lot for the rest of your life, which is a bad plan. So I know sometimes, like when your spouse comes home, they'll bitch about certain stuff, or they'll be angry, they'll bring their stuff from work, they'll bring it home. And when they come home, and you know that they're going to be angry, you know they're going to start bitching about stuff, you can look at them, all angry, all stressed, and you say, honey, you look really, really stressed. What's bothering you? Can you double that feeling? Now make that picture. Just hold that thought right there, anchor them on the knee, and then look at them while they're all stressed out, thinking about what's stressing them out, and then you look at them and say, honey, think about refusing me anything. I know my mom, she's talking, you don't really love me. You don't really do anything for me, and the whole time his brain's hearing, I don't love her. I don't do anything for her. When really she should be saying, you know what, honey? Since you love me so much, and you always take care of me, you're going to book my vacation, you're going to choose the exact hotel, not only that, you're going to pay for it too.
And you're going to look after the house while I'm gone?
Isn't that right? Yes, you're going to arrange that. See, now you can start to get creative. This is the land of embedded commands and presuppositions, which you want to start to master. You hang out with guys, right? Let's say you're out and just some guys they're assholes, right? Right? So all you do is you just look at them, you look right at their waist, you stare there, and then they go, what? And you go, nothing, ever again. Now, I work with a lot of kids as well. Now, kids, they got a real uphill battle because, they don't spell well when they're grade 3 and then suddenly the parents is freaking out whether they're autistic or not. It's just, no one's taught them how to spell. So one of the cool things that I do is I teach kids how to hypnotize teachers into giving them 90% plus grades. Now it all boils down to language and perception. So I'll have some kids go up and go up to the teacher and say, teacher, since you, like me, want the very best for your students, this year I'm going to get a 97. Last year I got a 94. I was just really disappointed with it. This year I'm going to get a 97. And guess what? There's not a single thing, nothing, that's going to stop me. Isn't that right? And then when you think about it, teacher, your job is as the teacher. You're supposed to teach me. Now, the way that you'll know, teacher, that you've taught me everything that I need to know is that I give it back to you 99% on the test. Isn't that right? And guess what? You think that teacher, when he's marking that test, you think he's going to give that student an X on it? No way. That student's going to be there the next day saying, explain yourself. And a lot of teachers don't know the answers to things, so they're going to be in big crap. That's why the answers are in the teacher's handbooks and not in the kids' handbooks. School is master the game of getting the highest mark possible. Now, part of this relates to all of life. If you don't ask for what you want, you don't get it, period. So kids, when they're in school, I want them going up to the teacher and say, because they have to master the teacher's subjective way of teaching. They have to adjust their learning system to their teaching system, which doesn't quite make sense that a 12-year-old would be able to comprehend and understand a teacher's teaching system, adjust his system to match the teacher's system. Your head's spinning now just thinking about it. How do you expect a 12-year-old to do that, for goodness sake? So you get the 12-year-old, or rather the 15, 16-year-old kid diagnosed with dyslexia. And I always ask them the first question, because I'm just not convinced. I ask them, they come in, I say, well, how do you spell that? And they go, D-Y-S-L-E-X-I-C. Isn't that interesting? Spelled it perfectly. So I'm not quite convinced. I'm not really convinced. How do you know you're dyslexic? They go, well, I did some stinking test. This grader said I'm dyslexic. Then I say, well, look at me. I'm lystexic. And I'm so lystexic, I have to cheat mental strategies in my brain. Are you interested in learning them so that you can spell any word forwards and backwards?
Yeah.
Yeah? Pretty cool, right? Now, sometimes I give parents a hard time because then I say, go home and bet your mom $50 you can spell the word conspicuous forwards and backwards. And then once they do it, they start making money. So I find the kids a job real fast. Show the parents how fast you can learn and how much you can earn. That's how I do it. On the topic of kids, I've been working in a few institutions working with kids with learning disorders. And then I just randomly find kids and I start doing stuff. I start teaching them memory stuff. And then some people just randomly ask me, what are you doing working with these kids? And what are you doing teaching them these memory strategies? I always say, well, no one else was. Here's my card. You can bring me in to do learning and brain training seminars. People ask me, Chris, can you help me with my depression? And I go, no, you're doing a fine job. And they're like, what do you do? I'm a neuro-linguistic programmer. Programming. You. And then people ask me, well, how do I seriously get a sense of humor? And I don't think that's how it works. I don't think you seriously get a sense of humor. And I'm at trade shows, and people come up trade shows. It's the funniest thing. And I'm doing these brain maps. You guys know I do brain mapping. So people come up and they do brain map, and they say, geez, I hope I find something. I hope you find something in there. And I go, me too. And some people, I have some gentlemen, they come, they're like, you're probably not going to find anything in there. And I go, sir, in your case, that's probably right. And they go, huh? Anchor it, boom, then we're off to the races. No chance. And I say, look at me. Now, I know you probably don't believe that you can be helped because no one's helped you yet. But you showed up anyways, which means some part of you is convinced that you need to change. Need to change now. And when would now be a good time to change? Isn't that right? I just have all these wonderful recent experiences. I just have this wonderful playground that is life. I'm in a store. Actually, I'm in Whole Foods. And I go to the cashier, and the cashier's like, so I hope you found everything all right in the store. I said, not a damn thing. Not a single thing. You know what? You should give me 50% off of this bill. And they're looking at me, he's like, yes, okay, sir. Let me get my manager. That's right. And then, my favorite question is the guys, I got to tell this for the guys. You guys mind if I tell this one for the guys? All right, tell it for the guys. My favorite question is when I go up to a cashier and she asks me, sir, would you like to tap or insert? I always say, both, please. Every day, baby. It's one of my favorites. NLP, basically what it does is it gives us like a calculus to really think about our thoughts and a set of processes and techniques to really change how we're thinking, how we're perceiving, and therefore what we're able to do. Now, I used to have very, very terrible anxiety and panic attacks. I was hospitalized through the university. I'm now 210 pounds. I was 150 pounds, hospitalized, drug addiction, really bad panic attacks, and it was very, very bad. My plan was to go to Harvard Law School. I ended up changing my degree from law to getting a degree in neuroscience and psychology, and boom, it was off to the races. Now, you were talking about OCD. I was OCD to optimize my brain. Well, look how that's helped up for me. Pretty damn good. Now, everyone who's really successful is OCD to a certain degree, and this is where our brain actually, it works perfectly. So the things that we think are problems, our brain actually works perfectly. Now let me explain to you. I have clients come in, they say, well, I have a really, really bad memory. And of course I go, well, how do you know that? And they go, well, I remember forgetting my keys, my children's birthdays. I see someone's face, I forget it. Now I've never really had someone say, I remember your name, I just can't remember your face. Never had that one before. So, next thing you know, they got 20 different things that he remembers he forgets. Which is kind of a paradox when you think about it. And I go, okay. And I'm just sorting all this stuff out. So I'm thinking the things he remembers to remember, like brushing his teeth. He sticks the toothbrush in his mouth, not another orifice of his body. Doesn't do that. He puts his clothes on. He does all kinds of stuff well. It's just so he's got 20 items that he remembers to forget. So I just have him to remember to forget on purpose, forgetting. So then you remember what it is you need to remember and forget what's not important. And all of you could think of one or two things that you need to start forgetting, right? Because one of the very things that we want to start to forget are bad memories. Because if bad things happen once is more than enough. What could be worse is replaying it for 30, 40 years. Sometimes what you need to understand is that it's your brain, bad things will happen, and to never think something again. Or to change your perspective so it doesn't change or affect you viscerally. This is what people mean when they say letting go. Actually, we're not letting go of anything. You're actually just re-representing something in your brain. Now, do any of you in this group here, do any of you suffer from uncertainty? You? You sure? Nope. So you're uncertain about your uncertainty, so you're certain. Perfect. Anyone else? Obviously, you have certain areas where you're more uncertain than others, and the whole concept of these different needs and stuff, that's very specific. I have guys who are afraid to go up to talk to girls in a bar, but they jump off cliffs on weekends. Makes total sense. Right? And I have like kids that I work with, they play junior A hockey, but everyone's telling me they can't even focus in classroom, which makes no sense. So he can go body check, go up and talk to scouts to get a potential scholarship, but he can't go up to his teacher to say, teacher, what's going to be on the test on Friday? I want to know I'm studying exactly what I need to study to get this 95%. Same brain. You have to be careful, because if you put that brain into the wrong hands, then comes in the vicious negative hypnosis. Perhaps there's something wrong with this kid and you're not admitting it. Maybe things are worse than you're really admitting to yourself, dear. Maybe your son really has autism. He has these symptoms. Can't you see? Next thing you know, you have a kid who's primarily regular, completely on the spectrum. It happens. So we want to go the other way. So that's the uncertainty thing. Now, the other thing is like something like anxiety. Now, anxiety, people come in, they say, I have anxiety. They should be saying, I'm a master of anxiety. Like, I was a master of anxiety. Then there's things like depression. Think about it, guys. Really think about it. Depression, some people remember the same bad memory over and over and over again every single day. Perfect memory. And everyone's like, man, that's terrible. You must feel like shit. That must feel brutal. I'm just looking like, wow. Okay. All right. How do you know you're depressed? And then where's that memory? And then we paint something over it. So you're taking, it's okay, breathing's good, dear. That'll save you from anxiety. Just careful with the gum there. You want to spit that out before we do the deep relaxation. And then there's people who say their brain is broken. This is legitimate stuff. People coming to me, they're saying their brain is broken. Now, the interesting thing is I go, okay, so you have 100 billion neurons in your brain, 100 trillion neurocortical connections, and you trust your brain's ability to be able to evaluate the status of that entire architecture, then make a decision as to what you can and cannot do in the future. And they're going, wait a minute. And I go, so the case is either your brain is working perfectly or it's not, and you're not qualified to make that decision. I am. Now sit down, look into my eyes, and listen to me. Some people say the block, and I always go, I have a real block. And I always go, as opposed to a fake one, right? And then, obviously, they've had a glimpse of what's around the block, or it wouldn't be a problem, right? So, obviously, when you realize that any block is just an idea, it's not really made out of anything that's solid. So you can chip away at it. And in fact, if you do some nice deep hypnotic relaxation, meditation, they always say the blocks are going to dissolve, and in fact, they do. Now, the last thing I want to hit on is people talk about bipolar. Right? You guys hear bipolar? Well, people come into my office and they say, I'm bipolar. And I go, so is the earth. Congratulations. Now, what do you want? You want to be bipolar? And people go, well, I don't want to be anxious. And I say, okay, so you want to be bored? They go, no. It's just like you going to, your girlfriend saying, honey, we're not going to drive to Detroit tomorrow. Just not going to do it. You go, well, where do you want to go? You want to go to Toronto? You want to go to New York? You want to go to Boston? Oh, maybe you take me to Montreal. Fun stuff. I don't know. I just don't want to go to Detroit. They just say, good gosh, Darren, just get your frontal lobes working and make a decision already. It's just like people go to a restaurant. This is how people make decisions and think. People go, well, you go in, you go, hey, do you have broccoli? They go, yeah. Okay, don't want broccoli. You have Brussels sprouts? Nah, don't want Brussels sprouts. Okay, at least you have beef? You got some beef? Nah, bloody cows, can't have that. How about you got vegan? You got vegan? Okay, no, don't want that. Way too pussy. You think I'm a vegan or not a vegan? You think I'm pro-vegan or not pro-vegan? I'll tell you what I'm not pro. Stuffing your head full of processed carbohydrates. You guys agree with that? Right. Now, so that covers our whole kind of spectrum of what people would call our disorders. So obviously you can tell my theory is a little bit different on that. Now, the cool thing is all our problems, they're very systematic. And this is what you're going to learn here tonight. We're going to get that really, really honed in. Now, people who are phobics, they do it consistently and predictably. right? The phobics don't go into an elevator, accidentally get up to the 4th floor and go, oh shucks, I forgot I was phobic. They never forget. It's just like people go, I never could be happy. Obviously, they have the idea of happiness and they're pushing it off. So, our job is to bring it into consciousness and get them to bathe in it and develop it and elaborate. Because if you don't, it won't. Now, one thing that a lot of people, both parents and children, deal with or battle with, it falls under the category of bad planning, in my opinion, is anxiety. Now, I have some people that come in racked with anxiety, and I'm always interested in how people do their anxiety. And if you start to learn these things and really want to do powerful work with people and influence people, whether it's business, whether it's with clients, you'll get really interested in how people mess themselves up. I'm always interested in how people kick themselves in the nuts, how they take their talents and they just tie ropes around them for no reason at all. It may just be nervous habits. So I have one girl comes in, lots of women, and she starts worrying. She worries about her husband thinking about other women. And I always ask her, well, what if? She goes, what if what? What if he's psychic? What if suddenly all your thoughts start going into his head? He starts wondering why he's always thinking about other women. It's like, holy shit, you better stop thinking about this stuff now. She goes, oh my God, I never thought about that. Now think about it now. Because your life will be screwed. Change those thoughts now. Who in here has a phobia of heights? You guys jump out of bed in the morning? You jump out of the bed in the morning, right? Now, naturally, a lot of people with very quick motivational processes, when they think something, they see themselves as if they're doing it and feel like they are. So they very much get into things very fast. You think of getting up, boom, you get up. You think of doing your business, boom, you get into it. Now, naturally, you could think of very high building. You could be watching a movie. No, it's a movie, but you feel like you're experiencing that fear. And that's part of how people are motivating themselves and how their brain is working. So this is where tonight I'm going to do with a few of you, if you'd like. Fastful will be a cure, it's called, and a little mental processy to just make it so that you have the freedom in that situation. Sound good?
Yes.
Now, one of the reasons why the NLP, and it's not just NLP, it's about neuroplasticity and how our brain is working, why it's really, really important, is because the more you know, the more you can defend yourselves. And I know people who go to the court of law and the lawyers are saying to this poor witness, isn't it not true, dear, that on February 16th, you saw this man murder her? Now, there's only one way out of that, because he didn't really ask a question. It was an implied statement. The answer is no. Is it not true that on this you did this, which is basically saying you saw him do this? And then when you know better, you can say, actually, how about you ask me a question? Because you can keep wasting our time and keep wasting the judge's time, wasting everyone else's time, but I got places to go and a person to be, unlike you. You anchor that, then all the jury anchors that, boom. And then another really cool thing is tag questions. So I do a lot of trade shows. So I'll see people walking by, and I'll go, hey, sir, you'd like to learn how to optimize your brain, would you not? And all of you sitting here would love to learn the secrets of NLP to optimize your brain, don't you? I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be fat. I can't eat this, it'll make me fat. Geez, I look in the mirror, I feel fat. Every day, fat, 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 fat. Next thing you know, you just look at food and you start gaining weight. Because your brain responds to the language at which you speak and what you say to yourself. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do a few demonstrations here tonight, and that's where it's really important, like when I was talking about with the husbands and women, that you make sure you structure your communication towards the response that you want, as opposed to what it is that you don't want, which is really important because our brain does, in fact, it does work perfectly. It's just working to do what it's doing, and then that's what it's doing. And our behaviors and what we're thinking, this is called our map of the world. And it's not actually the territory itself, it's just the menu. Now you go to a menu, you don't start chowing down on the menu. And this is a great looking menu. Ooh. No, you look down the menu to see what the chef can potentially cook. And that doesn't even mean he can actually cook the stuff that's on the menu, right? Because sometimes the food comes out, it's like, what the heck is that? You know what I mean? So the map is not always the territory. Now that's one of the wonderful things, because it is in fact the way in which we're thinking things that produces how we feel in our model of the world and what we're able to do. So one of the things we always want to assume is that any difficulty someone's having is just with the way in which their ideas and they're thinking about something, their model, their map. So two question there is, whenever you have a problem and, is what's stopping you? So people come in, they go, well, I can't learn math well. Well, what's stopping you from learning math well? There you'll start to get what it is. And then you want to focus on the desired places where you want to go. Well, what would be happening if? Right? People go, I'm lost. There's no hope. Well, what would be happening if you were just living the life of your dreams? You were feeling totally alive, totally focused. Your brain was working awesome. For all of you, I posed the question to all of you, what would be happening in your brain if it were working exquisitely as a magical device that was earning, learning, and doing everything that you would love and need it to do? Okay, so sometimes your brain doesn't do what you want it to do.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if you have the option to be feeling like that, but sometimes your brain doesn't. I think that's funny how does your brain sneak up on you sometimes, give you stuff like stress and stuff, procrastination kind of stuff. Burnout, so it implies you spend a lot of time like burning up your own energy. Okay, it's kind of required in order to experience burnout. Yeah, you kind of have to do like a lot of stress and anxiety and that kind of stuff. So you kind of drain your own energy and deplete yourself. Because, I got news for you. You're going to leave here and all the same people, they're going to still be there when you go to work or when you go home. And they're going to do the same things. Now, a lot of things cause me problems. Now, when I live with someone and I left the lights on, it just pissed them off. They nagged about every little frickin' thing that I did. Just bothered them. I was always hearing it. So on some nights when I wanted to enjoy myself, I'd leave every single light on in the house. And the next morning they'd wake up and I'd go, shit, I left the lights on last night. That must really fucking annoy you. Then they start getting all pissed off. Yeah, it really pisses me off. You see, well, hold that thought. Actually, double that thought. Take that feeling, skyrocket it. Now, sitting here, you could probably even predict situations in which you'd be, let's say, anxious or waste some of your energy, right?
Sure, yes.
And that's a great plan, of course. We just want to change it as fast as possible. Okay? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to think about that situation. Close your eyes for a second. Think about that situation. I'm just doing a little eyes closed process. Think about that situation. Now, don't laugh yet, okay? Think about that.
Tell me not to laugh. That's what I'm going to do then.
Oh, shucks. You're learning very fast. Now, is it like you're looking at yourself in the memory or looking through your own eyes?
Looking through my own eyes.
So it's like you're there, so you can get some of the bad feelings.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it. Okay.
Like that's.
All right. Now, just so you know, if I were to rub it, I didn't say it was either. So we're on the same, we're on the same page here. I love this. We're in complete agreement here. We have this nice unconscious rapport. Step one that people would say in a sales training seminar: get rapport. I think I've got a rapport, guys. What do you think? You're really, really worried. However, what I want you to do is, I want you to just look at yourself in that situation. Where you see yourself. Oh, shucks. You guys are too easy. All right. Now go inside. Now look at it and start to laugh. Look at it.
I just did.
Okay, perfect. That's not enough, though. Let's do some more with it. I want you to take the memory. I want you to laugh at it. And actually, what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes for a second. Close your eyes and take that laughter feeling. that silly feeling that you just had. Now, get that feeling. Come on, hold it back. Don't get all serious here. Come on. Keep thinking. Now close your eyes. No, that's all right. All right. Now try to get that fear back. Come on. We're waiting. All the times and places where you need to start giggling. The times where you got too serious. The times where you started making bad plans. Oh, what if the boogeyman got me? And then you left all the lights on and you didn't realize you're actually safer if it's dark. I tell that to kids all the time. Now, keep your eyes closed and keep smiling, keep giggling. You have to focus here, dear. Now focus, take that feeling, and think about the situations, times, and places where you were way, way, way too serious, where you did what we call bad planning. And think about the situation and giggle. You can giggle more than that. There you go, that's good. Now think about the situation, then go to the next situation. Say, where else was I kicking myself in the nuts and making myself feel bad? And think about the situation, hold it, slowly let it out, and just close your eyes right there for a second. Just relax. You guys are way too freaking tense. You guys need to enlighten the heck up already. Now just focus on your forehead. Now speaking to you three determined to change, I'd like you to think of a time when you were really, really determined and see that memory in your mind. Could be doing school, could be raising kids, could be getting the dress of your dreams. And see that determined memory. And then in the middle of it, open up a little target where you see a little circle inside of that memory. And in that circle, I'd like you to see the person you'd like to become tomorrow, the person you'd like to become now, the person you'd like to step all the way into for only the rest of your life. Because it is your brain, it is your mind. And it's up to you to start to make bigger, better plans for your future so you actually achieve them. Now, talking to you three, I know you all did a remarkable, wonderful job of thinking bad memories, actually remembering bad memories, scaring the crap out of yourself, making yourself feel feelings. And all that showed is just how educable you are, how easily you can learn. And the more you realize you can learn, the more you can take that brain power and use it in a way that you desire. So see in the middle, see that person that you really want to be. And really, really fast, see that picture just totally expand until it covers the entire image. Just expands and opens all the way up. You see it real big, real juicy, until some part of your brain just goes, ooh, I want that. Oh, come on, you can feel that even more than that. Ooh, I really want that. Or, something that you really start to desire. Because in a moment, I'm going to count to 3, and when I do, you're going to go from looking at that to stepping all the way inside of that. And when you do, something magical is going to happen. You're going to have an unexplainable sense of well-being, and you're not going to be able to hold it back. And the more you find to feel stressed, the more you're going to feel that magical feeling. Isn't that wonderful? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to start with you down there. I'd like you to try to get some fear back, because I worry about you. You had a lot of fears, dear. Can you get any of it back? You're taking a while. You can get a little bit of fear back. Okay, you can get a little bit back? You're smiling. I'm not convinced. And so you can get it maybe a little bit.
Because I'm here with a bunch of people, but if I were to go home and if there was nobody there and,
So you're still planning on feeling that feeling then?
Well, I'm gonna try not to.
Oh, you're gonna try. I'm gonna try to walk through that front door there. Wish me luck, guys. You know, let's see if I can do that. You guys ever see that on Instagram? The ants, people post ants, automatic negative thoughts. You know, I get guilty as charged for apps, automatic positive thoughts. People go, man, you're way too positive. You know, there's something wrong with you. You know, you need to go get your brain cells checked. You're just way too positive. You're way too happy. You know, you should feel bad. You know, reality just sucks, man. You know, reality, you can't change it. I go, yeah, yours, you can't. It sucks to be you, man.
Is it true that we naturally have negative thoughts, and so if we have an awareness, we feel the negative thoughts more powerful?
Yeah, well, what happens is the vicious hypnotists who we experience growing up, they ensure that we have automatic negative thoughts. And it starts at the age 5, you know, with parents, you know, saying, you can't do that, you might fail. Then you have teachers saying, as soon as you open a calculus book, saying this is going to be very, very difficult, and you're probably not going to get it.
Oh, okay.
So unfortunately, this stuff rings like a bad phone in people's heads. Like it's just like the one guy who came up and he said his brain was broken, right? So someone said that, a doctor unwittingly and unknowingly said that, and this person thought it over consistently for a long period of time, unfortunately. Now, the nice thing is that you can cancel those suggestions in the blink of an eye because they're just beliefs, right? Now, the only problem is if you don't believe you can be good at something, you go to do it, and as soon as you go to do it, bad things happen inside your head, right? You don't think you can be a good hockey player. As soon as you try to go to hockey, bad things happen in your head. Now, do any of you have an area where like this, automatic negative thoughts, man? Sounds like me. I do that a lot. How about you, Darren? No. Yeah, you're looking way too relaxed, too chill there, man. You're like, dude, you're speaking my language, man. I wish other people would just get this stuff more. Amen. For sure. Appreciate that magical device that God has given you in a brain by learning everything you possibly can to optimize it. People, when they make bad decisions, they almost know better ahead of time. They just don't listen to their brain. So what I'd like you all to do is I'd like you to just think about one of those just real bad decisions. One of those things that you look back, you just think, good gosh, that was the dumbest thing ever. You could think about something that's in your storage or your garage, or, I don't want to say a guy because, I got to keep the guys, the elevation up, because women, they're just strong, they're amazing, magical beings. Guys don't stand a chance. Yeah, there's a reason why like 80% of my clientele is women, and in fact, women are very much the health conscious. They get shit done, right? If there's stuff that needs to get done for kids and for families, it's the women there. I mean, I work with a lot of autistic kids. It's the mothers showing up. I'm gonna have to try to educate the guys to help catch up. But I mean, women are just miles ahead. So God love them. So I'll teach you all the NLP, all the brain neuroplasticity techniques I know. Now, how can we do more of those good decisions deliberately on purpose to architect a better future? That's a great question. Now, the nice thing is our brain, everything we do, whether it's decisions, motivation, even our problems and our successes, it all has a structure and a representation. Now, I've noticed a peculiar thing. As soon as they walk through the school doors, it shuts off. And then, unfortunately, you get the vicious cycle. They don't feel good. Their brain shuts off. They don't perform well in school. They don't perform well in school. Now, all of a sudden, they get labeled as, oh, this kid's ADD. 7 plus 6. 13. Yeah, quite well, actually. Develop the desired abilities. So within yourself, that's, what do you do well? What don't you do well? So if I'm working with a kid, it's what do they do well? And amplify that. What they don't do well, teach them to do it. Seems like a pretty practical thing, right? Find out what they can't do and teach them to do it. Now, in my past and building up to here, as I said, is I had really bad anxiety and panic attacks. And how I got into this is I switched from my degree. I was doing business. I was going to go to law. Switched to a degree in neuroscience and psychology. I started learning all these different theories and information strategies, which I applied to myself, very obsessive and compulsively, optimizing my brain daily and relentlessly, and checking, hey, how are my neurons doing? Probably over the top. However, I've managed to control it. So what I did is I would do brain maps and brain imaging and stuff, and I would work with clients and I mapped their brain. Then I designed protocols like nutrition protocols, and then I did things like neurofeedback to rewire the brain. And that got us pretty far. Like I would take someone, their brain was clearly imbalanced, their chemistry was off. I would get precise. I worked with a doctor there, both with a chiropractor with an autistic son and some other MDs, and we would protocol to balance the chemistry. Then I'd do some neurofeedback training, train the brain, and we would be able to see before and after as the brain change. Now that worked really, really well. And I ran my business for a few years. Actually, I was like 23. I got paid tons of money to go down and talk on brain nutrition. 23-year-old, 50, 60-year-old executive sitting there up front like, who's this guy? I didn't even have the beard, you know? You know, I looked like I was 19. And I was going there, I was like, hey guys, think about it. You guys are paying me to come fly down here. Obviously, I figured a few things out on focus and memory. And I know forgetting important things is a real pain in the butt. Same with all that stress and anxiety. So would you like to learn how to eat to better fuel your brain for better focus and memory? They go, yeah. Before you know it, they're my best friends. We're partying tonight, and they become coaching clients and stuff. So, yeah, so much for that. You know, you're too young. You're not good. You know, I always love that. You know, people come up to you, you go, you know, Vonda, you probably can't do it. You probably just can't get totally awesome shape. You probably couldn't make another $1 million or $2 million. You probably couldn't open up another business. Just, you know, not possible for you.
Nothing.
Yeah, polar responder there. I would say that, you know, people say that, you know, if someone said that to me, you know, yeah, there's no way you could possibly do that. I just say, I believe you. You don't have to do anything about it. Ends it right there. Or you just say, okay, I hear what you're saying. I see your point. And they go, wow, he saw my point. Then I can continue on my life as opposed to arguing with them over nonsense. Makes your life a lot easier. We want to make our lives a lot easier. So what happened is I got a lot of success with clients and people. But then there'd be things, give them a diet plan. I'd give them the best nutrition plan, bullet points. Like, man, I want to get ripped in shape. What do I do? Boom, 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 boom. The points, they wouldn't do it. They're like, you know, man, you know, I just couldn't get myself to the gym, man. You know, I couldn't do it. Yeah, I said, yeah, how was the couch? They're fine. You know, and the guy's saying, well, I don't really relate to people. You know, those people get into fitness. Well, you relate to the furniture pretty well. You're pretty well one with the couch there. No problems there. So I was like, okay, I got to up my game here. I got to up my skills to be able to do things to help create positive changes and help people take control of their brain. Because it's not that, like, you know, when we do stuff like trance and stuff, it's not about taking control of someone's brain. And we just did some more just conscious stuff. I know you guys were a little bit nervous, but I just wanted to do little things. Just think of how easy it is to change things. It's not about someone else controlling your brain. It's about you taking control of your own brain. So that way you're the one driving the bus as opposed to your brain running wild and making yourself do bad memories. Feel stressed when you don't need to feel stressed, which seems kind of silly when you think about it. Wouldn't you agree? Of course. I love your answers. Of course. I must get smarter. Of course. It must work. Of course. Anxiety is bad. Of course. You know. Love it. So that's what got me into learning the NLP. So I went down, flew down to Florida. I had people, they wanted to convince me to go to some NLP seminar here in Canada. I'm the kind of guy where if I'm going to learn from someone, it has to be the best because I don't like the game of broken telephone, right? You guys all played the game of broken telephone. You know, I tell Darren something here. Next thing it's going to get to you girls at the back and you're going to, you know, it's going to be completely different. Darren's going to be like, whoa, 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 I did not say that, ladies. Did not say that. Whoa, wrong message. You know, and unfortunately that's what happened in the field of NLP. So I went from the guy who co-created it. So I went down to Florida. I saw this guy, Dr. Richard Bandler. Really fascinating, really amazing. Like he'd bring people on stage, do really stuff. Funny as hell too. Like, and I was a real tight ass at the time still. So I was like, I really need to lighten up here, loosen up, because if I'm going to do the speaking gig, I can't make people feel bad. Right? There's a trick here. You have to make people feel good, have lots of good feelings and like and enjoy. You know, you guys all remember, there's probably only one or two teachers you remember from school, and they were obviously the funniest ones. And my favorite ones, they were always the French teachers. You know, je dis, je die, you know. God love them. See the French teacher from back grade 3 and say, you know, you totally inspired me. You got me through the dog days, man. You were the best teacher ever. Love you. So those French teachers, you know, this learnings and lessons still going on. And they actually had a little key there, the rhythm and rhyme for the brain. So I saw him, very intrigued. It's like, you know, these are skills that I really would love to learn and really would be key for speaking, for working with clients, for communication. Whether it be just teaching kids, you know, how to interact with teachers. Teaching people, like they have these social anxiety stuff, people taking nootropics for social anxiety. Teach them how to control their brain and think properly and feel properly so they can do things which they're capable of doing. So I saw him, and of course, saw the seminar, was very impressed. So of course this was all about NLP, language and persuasion. So I went to him and I said, you know what? I'm the best student you've ever had and you don't know it yet. 6 months later, getting his card, going off and touring around to like London, England, going through seminars and stuff. So learning the skills, which I've now used. I had clients come in, like we were talking about, like what do you do with people with OCD and schizophrenia? At first, I had no idea what to do, right? Yeah, at first it was like a battle of people come in depression and I'm trying to convince them not to be depressed. They're trying to convince me that they'll always be depressed, that nothing will ever help them. And they won some of the battles initially. But now, 2 years later, 3 years later, after learning a lot of these skills, I call them up. I'm saying rematch. I'm convincing you delight is on the way. Get them in, and we change the outcome because you have the skills. Now, if you don't know how to do something, you won't be able to do it. It's that simple. You don't teach kids how to spell and remember well, they won't be able to do it. And then they won't do it well, and then they'll think there's something wrong with them. No, you just haven't taught them how to do it. So this is where, when it comes to NLP, a lot of the skills to, number one, to overcome fears, anxiety, worries, these kind of stuff that just get in the way and clog up time. Like you guys don't have time for it. Like I work with some kids, they're 14 years old, they're playing on sports teams, they're, thinking of doing a pro career, they got school. They don't have time for worrying. They just don't have any time for it. Like you got to cut this stuff out. Like it's not worth your time. So that's where having the skills and techniques to be able to teach them to do that becomes a great time saver. Then you have things like motivation and decision making. Now, motivation, this is very context specific. Now, some people here, who thinks that they're a highly motivated person? Bon and I just agree with you. I can just tell the look in your eye. You got it, baby. I know you got it. See, that look. When you look behind the eyes and have that fierceness, it's like that's a person you don't want to mess with, right? So, I already know she's got the highly motivated thing. Now, I even know for you, Vonda, there are some things that you would love to be able to get to do that you're not getting to yet, right? So that's where even for you, a highly motivated person. Now, what I'd like to do is you'd want to take how Vonda motivates herself, and who here isn't that motivated? Darren. So you have stuff that you want to do, you don't get to it.
Yeah, not always.
Always.
Not always.
Not always. So sometimes you actually do get yourself motivated.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how do you know when you're going to actually get yourself motivated versus not?
Morning ritual.
So if you do the morning ritual, you're motivated, you do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, but some days obviously you forget to do the morning ritual.
No, some days the world gets involved.
Okay, well that's going to happen every day, as long as you're on planet Earth here. So that's a common problem we all share. So something actually gets in your way of you doing your ritual.
Yeah, like the phone will start ringing first thing in the morning.
Okay, and there's certain things that compel you to pick up the phone.
Yeah, it keeps going over and over.
Okay, because you couldn't just say, well, wait until the ritual so I can be motivated to get done what needs to get done.
I work in IT, so I handle a lot of people's systems and networks, so they can't be down in the morning first day of the work, so yeah.
Okay, so you know what else Darren would need help with is a little time management.
Yes.
All right? Because we could always program in that he gets up 5 minutes earlier. Now, Darren, you strike me as the kind of guy who hits the snooze button in the morning.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
right? So you don't do it all the time, but sometimes, like you do the snooze button. Now, on those days, do you cut deals with yourself? Like you go, like, if I hit the snooze button, I'll give myself 5 more minutes, I'll skip the ritual, and we'll just have to deal with a shitty day.
Yeah, well, not shitty day. Never shitty day. But,
I'm just...
Yeah, I hear you.
Not as good as it could be.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, now that's a great plan.
Yeah. No? That's a good one, yeah.
Darren's on autopilot there. He's like, damn, I'm just doing it on autopilot. Please save me, man. Please give me the control that I'd like to have. All right, now just let's stop for a moment.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like you to think about one of those days where you're just, boom, highly motivated. You do your ritual. You're feeling great. Now think about one of those times. All right? Now just notice where that picture is in your mind. When you think about one of those memories, highly motivated, get it done. All right? And you got a certain feeling too, right?
Yeah.
Certain feeling about it, no doubt about it, right? Mm-hmm. Right. Now, I like you to think about one of those. We'll call them Darren's off days, or Darren's brain-less days. He has less brain because he doesn't do his ritual to get more brain. So think of one of your Darren brain-less days that we're going to start to do less of. You got one of them?
Yep.
Okay. Now think about that, and the picture's in a different place in your mind, right?
Yeah.
Clearly. Eyebrows raised. Oh yeah, way different. Yeah, okay. All right. Now, where do you see that in your mind?
It's off to the side.
Off to the side. Okay, and you get a different feeling about it too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what I want you to do, Darren, is I want you to see that picture on off to the side. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to see the picture, and when you look at it, I'd like you to close it like you're closing a window screen. Because you're an IT guy, you could do this real well. See that picture, shrink it down like you're closing a window screen, and then pop up the image of the highly motivated Darren. Got it? All right, real fast, 3 times, real fast, man. Take the picture, shrink it down, motivated Darren, up there, nice and big and bright. You guys can go along with it too. Anyone with a brain who's listening can do this as well. All right, 3 times, and then see that Darren right in front of you, okay? See him right there, all right? Now, can I borrow this hand for a moment? All right, let me take this hand for a moment. Now, just hold this right here like this. Now, Darren, you're going to start to feel a pull between your thumb and your nose, okay? And guess what that is, Darren? It's just the attraction to making this feeling the dominant driving force in your brain. So it starts to happen automatically. So what I want you to do is I want your unconscious to just let your thumb move closer and closer to your nose, and the closer it gets, the stronger this feeling is going to get, until by the time your thumb touches your nose, that feeling is going to become the dominant driving force in your brain. And you're no longer going to be able to do the brainless Darren, because the new, more powerful Darren will be there instead. Now, every little bit closer, picture getting bigger, feeling stronger, becoming more alive, becoming more manly, becoming more Darren. There you go. Closer, closer, and the closer it gets, the better you feel. Keep breathing. That's a good thing too, Darren. All the way closer and closer until the moment your thumb touches your nose, that feeling will become the dominant driving force in your brain. There you go. And stop right there for a moment. Because sometimes things are a bit of a struggle. Because I got news for you, Darren. That brainless guy is going to try to come back. He's going to say, Darren, just take 5 minutes, press snooze. You could skip the ritual today. And that's going to seem silly. Now look at that old Darren. Skipping his ritual, not being motivated, and think, man, I'm sick of that crap, man. See that? Shrink that image down. Look at the Darren you want to be, and when you're ready to feel that feeling, totally awakened, totally motivated, let your thumb touch your nose, and that's going to feel really, really, really good. There you go. Getting closer, and closer, and closer, all the way. Now hold that right there. Now in a moment, I'm going to shake your wrist twice, and you're going to just go into a totally deep, totally hypnotic state. You're just going to have a little perfect dream where you run through the days and the weeks ahead, seeing the Darren, the full brain power Darren, motivated. And just run through your days and notice how that's going to look and feel. Start to make some big, bright plans for your future and get ready to do so. 1, 2, sleep. Now, while Darren's off making perfect plans in his mind, motivated plans, smiling plans, I'd like you all to just put your feet on the floor for a moment and just relax for a second and just realize it is your brain. It is a wonderful thing. I know you have people out there, they try to control your brain, and you have to protect yourself, ladies, from news, from the media, from vicious hypnotists. Not me, vicious hypnotists. People will say, oh, you have to spend all this money to get this. I'm always dubious. Because I think you all could just sit down, close your eyes for a moment, and think of a really, really wonderful memory. Something that makes you smile. Maybe even something with a giggle attached to it. Even if that's a foreign concept to you, because you just forgot to do it. And in fact, you maybe haven't giggled in so long you've gotten rusty at it. It's time to dust off the giggling muscles and let the good feelings back on in. Because if you think of that wonderful memory has a certain feeling to it. It has a certain location in your mind. And if you look at that memory and you make it a little bigger, you make it a little brighter, just notice, does that intensify the wonderful feeling? And if so, just keep making it bigger and bigger. Keep moving it and altering it and adjusting it into the greatest delight, the best feeling. And then think of another wonderful memory. See another great, wonderful memory just coming down in your mind. And just see it life-size. And just let any distractions, any sounds, any bodily feelings, any itchiness, any fidgetiness, just dissolve as you forget about what's not important and focus on what is. Your brain, your thoughts, and starting to do what you want with it. Now, we've talked a lot about things like anxiety and planning, and some of you weren't making the best plans. Now, I'd like you to stop for a moment and start and pick a target for yourself. Pick a target for yourself, because I'm wondering if you were living and feeling exquisitely, if you were fully emoting yourself, fully expressing yourself, what would that look like? What would you be doing? Who would you be interacting with? What kinds of things would you be doing that you haven't been doing yet, can start to? And start to make that clearer and more precise in your mind. Now, the more precise you make it, the more likely you're going to do it. And if you make that image the same shape, the same size, the same location as that thing that you believe and you're certain of, you're going to be more certain that you can be that person, that you can do it. Now, this is important because the first step to be able to do something is to build really, really powerful beliefs that you can do it. Because if you don't believe, you don't try, therefore you don't find out. And ho-hum, how sad is that? So just take that good feeling, look at that image of the person you want to be, and see it, make it big, make it bright, make it ever so juicy until you look at that and you think, I want that. I'm going to do whatever it takes to be her, to be him. Make an image to the point where you look at that and you think, easy, hard, no matter what. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be it. And then take the image and move it off to the distance, a little bit further away. See it big, see it bright off into the distance, and start to ask yourself, how easily, how quickly, how effortlessly can I get from where I am to where I want to go? And keep breathing deeper, softer, more and more comfortably. It's a much better question than what can I feel bad about? What's wrong with me? That doesn't have any good answers to it. But if you look at yourself, the way you want to be, where you want to go, you ask yourself, how easily can I get there? What's the fastest way I can get there? And start to build a plan in your mind where you start to see steps from where you are to where you want to be. Now tonight, you're going to go home, your head's going to hit the pillow, and when it does, you could think about a million thoughts. You could make really scary pictures of bad things happening, or you could smile, feel the warmth of the pillow, look at that person you want to be, see those steps, and start to let it spin deeper and deeper and deeper inside of your unconscious. Because that's what our brain does. We learn something, and it rehearses it. I know you've all worked on a problem, And once you started on a problem, then your brain couldn't stop working on it. And in fact, it's only when you took your attention off the problem that the solution came into your mind. Now in a moment, I'm going to count to 5, and when I do, you're totally going to awaken, feeling good, feeling relaxed, with a clear sense of where you want to go and a clear direction of who you want to be, so your brain can start to automatically and unconsciously move you and propel you in that direction. Now, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice if every time you got bored, you just launched into motivation? Every time you felt stressed, you just relaxed. Every time you got all stressed and serious, you started giggling. Some of you may have that problem moving forward, and I'd like you to surprise yourself delightfully with such. Now, start to rise on up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes. Now, Darren, in a moment, I'm going to touch you on the shoulder. And when I do, you're going to explode like a freaking rocket ship with an unbelievable sense of motivation. You're going to start to become more like a freight train. And people are going to be like, holy shit, Darren, what got into you? And you're going to say, a lot's gotten into me. And you're going to feel motivated. You're going to feel the power inside of you. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. How you doing, man?
Good?
So, think you're going to be more motivated tomorrow?
Yeah.
I think so too. I'd like to let you guys know I'm doing an exclusive NLP training, licensed practitioner training. If this is something you guys are interested, you're interested in learning the full spectrum and gamut of skills, language patterns, persuasion, the techniques to change your brain. The goal is that at the end is to give you full mastery of these skills as much as you could, and through immersion, so that way you can start to do this stuff on other people. Now, a lot of, whether it's just in business, whether it's with your kids, whether it's with yourself, so the course will be structured where not only will you learn the stuff that you're doing, I will actively do the stuff to you so you experience it fully immersed, because that's how you're going to learn the best. At the end, you'll get like a full licensed practitioner. You'll get it with Dr. Richard Bandler's signature, so you'll be through the actual Society of NLP, a licensed practitioner. Now, in the training, I'll teach not only the NLP, I'll also teach some neuroscience 101, some brain nutrition 101. So you're getting the actual skills, the nutrition, and then the actual key things on how the brain works and an understanding of that as well. So I know a lot of people are into brain hacking, biohacking stuff. I'll get that down, the nutrition, neuroscience, and then the actual NLP skills, so you can really start to do some really, really wonderful things with your own brain and with other people.